calf. It's a zoo. I'll try the school store.
I'm sorry, Miss Ayase.
I'm sorry, Okarun.
Hi there everyone, Lars and Scott here back with another review and analysis for Dandadan, Episode 5, brought to you by Camille's Harem. Not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers. Because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends.
I like this episode. Gotta be honest, I like this episode. Not as much as the previous 4, but still a really good episode because it takes a step in the right direction of establishing the characters and establishing the relationship. I mean, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. We should probably do a recap of the episode real quick, but just want to put that out there before we get going.
Yeah, this episode is very straightforward. We pick up the next day with Okarun going to school, thinking about what he's going to say, how he's going to act when he finally meets up with Momo, and he's acting all silly. And it makes sense, because this is his first real friend. And lo and behold, she's right there at the front gate, and he immediately starts getting cold feet. He's like, she can't be here for me. No, this is not real. And she actually is. It is miracle of miracles for all the nerds. And she's talking at him because she's so excited to discuss everything that they went through. And he's just like, I can't believe this is happening. And then when they're in class, she just wants to talk to him. He thinks that he was being too weird and that she doesn't like him anymore. So they're both going to go talk to each other at lunch. And because they're both looking for each other, they keep missing. Hilariously, when they finally meet, it is with a horrible smooch / tooth clacking because they walk right into each other. Ouch!
It's like one of those accidental kisses from like early in the Naruto anime, where like you got Naruto and Sasuke kissing accidentally in the class and everybody's freaking out about it. Well, it's the same kind of situation here.
Yeah. I prefer the accidental kiss over the accidental boob grab, because the accidental kiss does happen more often in the wild than the accidental boob grab.
Thankfully.
But Momo's friends catch them as this happens, and they're trying to apologize to each other. Momo gets embarrassed and completely flips her lid. And Okarun then reacts negatively towards it, and then they leave in a huff. While she goes to stew at the classroom, he goes to the bathroom, finally realizes that the family jewels have gone missing. He needs his balls back, so he rushes in to tell Momo what's going on. She doesn't want to talk to him, especially with all of her friends there and classmates there, making fun of the situation. So he leaves all dejected, and then runs into the next girl, who is really only teasing him for her own gratification and the pleasure of torturing nerds. Totally a thing. Don't think that this is just some weird contrivance from an anime. This happens all the time in high school, unfortunately. Both guys and girls do it. And when Momo finds out what's going on, she uses her powers to drop a freaking tub on top of the girl. And then very openly be all like, oh, Okarun, your glasses just look so good. You know, there's some girls out there who just don't appreciate a guy like you, who deserve to have a tub fall on them rather than guys fall for them. Oh, nice. Not heavy-handed at all right there, Momo. And they finally talk about what happened. They apologize. It's all good and sweet. And then Okarun's like, by the way, I lost my balls. So back to the shrine, back to Grandma to figure out what on earth happened. She realizes that there's some evil presence inside of Okarun, slaps it on out of him into a doll, and it turns out to be Turbo Granny. But it's only Turbo Granny's consciousness. Okarun has maintained control over the powers, which hopefully will be good for him. And now they got to go on a quest. They got to find themselves some balls.
I love the dynamics between everybody in this episode. Like, it makes you really believe that they're a bunch of, like, awkward, goofy, and, like, very charismatic teenagers at the same time. Like, they each have, like, their own goals. They each have their own misunderstandings of what's going on. And it's handled really well. Like, the first half of the episode, it's just, like, their reactions at school trying to establish a new normal after the craziness that was the previous 4 episodes. And just them failing at it over and over and over again. It's hilarious, and it's good writing in this case. I mean, you see a lot of this, like, awkward interactions and, like, a look away and blush, and it doesn't really lead to anything other than establishing that they're embarrassed in some form or another. And this one, it's like actually showing their thoughts, actually showcasing why they're embarrassed about different things that's happening, and showing their reactions to each other, and like it's wonderfully done.
It absolutely is. And speaking as a guy who was a high school teacher for 4 years, I saw this kind of stuff happen regularly. No, not boys suddenly losing their balls to magical grannies, but seeing these kinds of interactions, seeing how kids would start getting into some sort of relationship, maybe not romantic right off the bat, but trying to figure out, okay, then, like, we've had a connection, trying to explore what exactly that means, making all kinds of mistakes, misunderstandings galore, getting into a huff, getting into an argument, only to make up and get back together, either as a couple or as friends. And then, of course, then the teasing from other people. You'd always have others trying to lead others on. And really the big thing right here is just, I think, the miscommunication. And looking for other people. Like, this happens all the time. This is one of those things that people don't like to talk about because it is super embarrassing. But almost everyone has gone at some point or another through that experience of, I really want to talk to someone, and I know that they're, like, on campus or they're here at work. I'm going to go find them because I just really, really want to hang out with them. And then you spend so much time looking for them, you look like an idiot, and if anyone finds out what you're doing, you feel super embarrassed. That's happened to almost everyone. Mm-hmm. And I like that that's represented here. Yes, most people don't have these many horrible, embarrassing things happening to them one right after the other.
Yeah.
But this is fiction. This is meant to play up just how embarrassed Momo and Okarun feel.
Well, and I like how, even though they're focusing on the relationship between Momo and Okarun, they're taking the time to introduce one of the next major characters, which is the pink-haired girl, the one that was a bit of a jerk to Okarun without him realizing it. And it's great getting to see a little bit of who she is before we're fully introduced to her. Can't remember her name. Ira, yeah. Because she's the next part of the group. She's the next, like, chaotic addition to everything that's happening around him, especially with, like, the ghosts and the aliens and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But for now, she's just a jerk at school.
Yeah.
And it's nice seeing her at the, like, lower stage of things. It kind of similar how we were introduced to Okarun and Momo in the first place in the first episode. They were just high school kids. Mm-hmm. Like, if you hadn't read a synopsis of the show or seen any of the, like, clips and just started watching the show, like, blind, you would have thought, oh, it's like a goofy rom-com at high school. Like, there's none of this crazy, like, occult or ghost or alien stuff going on. It's just this rom-com. And it's between these characters that have some chemistry with each other. Well, we're getting the same kind of intro for Ira as we did Momo and Okarun, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this just helps to firmly establish these are just kids. Mm-hmm. And I like that because it keeps the story relatable. And that's one of the things that helps a crazy story, such as Dandadan, to always be accessible to the audience. There are those people who are there just for the silliness and for the crazy shenanigans, and that's totally fine. But there's a lot of people who, after a time, will check out because it's just too much. You can only take so much silliness and so much action before you say, I'm exhausted. So an episode like this does a fantastic job of dialing things back, slowing it down for the people who need for it to be slowed down, firmly re-establishing that these are just normal characters who are just living through an insane experience, and showing that, and this is something I think is very important, that the world continues to turn normally for them. As opposed to so many other shonen out there, once a power has been discovered, once a bad guy's been defeated, it's as if the entire world has shifted with the paradigm. Like, everything has changed. There's never any kind of going back. But in this case, it's just the characters are the ones who are changing, the rest of the world is moving on, same old, same old.
Right.
And I like that.
Yeah. I also really like how, I mean, we find out what happened to Okarun's balls, but, like, going forward, we know there's going to be more shenanigans. There's going to be more aliens they're going to have to fight. There's more ghosts they're going to have to deal with. And up to this point in the show, we're kind of led to believe that, like, Turbo Granny's been dealt with. Like, Okarun's not going to have these, like, crazy ghost abilities anymore. He's not going to be able to go all Danny Phantom and save the day kind of idea. Because he doesn't have Turbo Granny's power. Well, surprise, surprise, Turbo Granny's back. Had been hiding him in him the whole time. He needs to find his balls, but until everything's finally figured out, he's able to use Turbo Granny's powers again. And we're still going to have that same teamwork dynamic that we were having before with, like, Momo and Okarun helping each other survive what's going to be happening to them.
Yeah, and that's just really, really good. This is a good way of dealing with some of the bigger villains, because as we were talking about this earlier, a character just so iconic and so charismatic as Turbo Granny, to just get rid of her really fast just doesn't work. That's the Marvel Cinematic Universe way of dealing with things. How many amazing villains have just been one-shotted in one movie and then have never returned again? There's so many villains who should have been reused.
Right.
And by keeping Turbo Granny around, and at least in one form, and we know in this episode, she wanted Okarun to murder Momo and Grandma. She was down for it, and you know she's going to continue pulling all sorts of shenanigans. So even though, of course, this is shonen, so we expect her at some point to be befriended, she is going to be an agent of chaos throughout a lot of the story.
Mm-hmm.
That is a great way of keeping around a villain within the shonen formula, but without reducing Turbo Granny to, well, I've been beaten, so now I'm your friend and ally.
Mm-hmm.
No, Turbo Granny's going to do some good things later on in the story, but Turbo Granny's also going to do a lot of things that kind of cut the main characters at the knees in silly and unexpected ways.
Yeah. I feel like this episode was less of a setup episode for what's going on, and it's more establishing, like, the characters and relationship more. Because, like, before, the relationship was, like, they were trauma bonded through some crazy, really crazy stuff. But now that that's over, they have the chance to take a breath. They have the chance to, like, catch up with themselves. And now they have the time to actually create a relationship in their normal, everyday lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes a huge difference. There's so many stories where you feel like you got a whole, like, Nightingale complex because somebody saved somebody else, or they trauma bonded over some crazy thing happened, and it's happily ever after from there. No. You two need therapy. Mm-hmm. These two, they definitely need therapy, but, like, they're given the time to actually deal with some of it, even if it's just the next day dealing with it at school. It's actually showing that process a little bit.
Yeah, and to what you're saying, like how this is not so much setup, but more like, hey, we're just reestablishing the relationship. I would even go as far to argue that this episode is the falling resolution to episode 4. Because now the characters, now all the big stuff has been dealt with, we now get to see where they are as a result of their crazy adventure.
Yeah.
And actually, I just was writing this earlier today for one of my own stories, coming towards the end of the book. One character kind of has like a bit of a self-aware moment. It's like, they don't tell you in most movies and books and shows that after, like, all of the big fighting is done and you've saved the day, that characters then fall into this weird melancholy of self-reflection and awkwardness as they then realize, oh, it's done. What do I do now?
Mm-hmm.
What do I do now? And he's like, congratulations, you've reached that point in your story. Now just do whatever. I don't care. And that's kind of what we're getting. That's kind of what we're getting here. Now, granted, it's not the end of the story, which is why it's then important to focus on the fact that Okarun has lost his balls, the discovery of Turbo Granny and whatnot. That's kind of the setup for what's happening next. But this episode is more a falling resolution to episode 4 than it is the setup for episode 6.
Yeah.
So, with all of that being said, we hope that you guys have been checking out Dandadan. If not, hey, thank you for coming here and listening to our spoilery discussion. But seriously, go check it out. It is a fantastic series. And if you're looking for more reviews and analyses and the likes, then please check out our other videos here on our channel. And if you'd like to support the work that we do, liking, sharing, subscribing helps us out a whole lot, but especially checking out the books that we ourselves have published. Links for all of them are in the description below. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us on this incredible adventure that we call writing. And until the next video, y'all, tschüss.
Okini.